If you've ever had those days off where after a long week, you know you should be relaxing, but you find yourself just restless because you feel like you're wasting time just trying to be lazy, this video is probably for you. I get the same way after a busy week where, there's days off on the weekend that I know I should be relaxing because if I don't, then burnout is more likely to happen. But even in those days where I'm trying to be lazy and relax, I feel so restless because I feel like I still need to be doing stuff. So this is a 6-step pattern that I follow to make sure that on days off I feel recharged after it, but I also feel like I get a lot of stuff done, that I'm still productive over the weekends. And the first thing that I follow is I make sure to change my surroundings. Because if I spend all day in my house right here, I know that I get really amped up and really restless. I almost get cabin fever. So by going out, I get the blue light to kind of wake me up. I either go to a restaurant or maybe to a park or to a bookstore, and it gets my mind into a more positive place. Because our emotions are impacted by the environment that's around us. So the first thing that I make sure I do on all of my weekends is to get out of my apartment. I'm changing my surroundings because I know that if I stay in my apartment, I get really restless and I feel like I get cabin fever. When you do this, when you change your environment, you're changing the sensory input that your mind is getting. Because a lot of us, we think that based on our emotions, it impacts what we do and what we want to do. But it turns out our emotions are more of a byproduct based on what they're getting from the environment, or based on their sensory input. In Lisa Feldman Barrett's How Emotions Are Made, she talks about how this new process that research is discovering is that our emotions are basically interpretations that we're making on the sensory input that's around us, but also the sensory input inside of us called interoception. So if you realize that you're stuck indoors and you are restless and you're indoors all day, chances are it's because your mind is interpreting the senses around you all the time and making you feel like you don't want to do anything. So by getting up and changing your environment to a bookstore or to the park, it's going to shake things up and possibly boost your mood a little bit more to do something. And then piggybacking off of that, while you're going out and changing your environment, the second step that I always follow is doing something that I want to do. And the main reason for this is because it counteracts the stress that I felt throughout the week. See, a lot of people think that stress and anxiety, they're pretty interchangeable in, common speech. But stress is really change. It is demands of life putting on us. Life is requiring us to do certain things, like my work week. Even though I enjoy my work, there's still a lot of things that, I would rather be at home and watching TV all day. Life still demands us to do certain things. Even though work is something that I enjoy to do, it still puts a lot of pressure to make sure those tasks get done. So, to relax from the things that your mind didn't want to do throughout the week, you want to do something that you actually want to do. And this could be, wanting to go to the beach, or it could be going to read a book at the bookstore. It's whatever in the moment that strikes your interest or something that you've been looking forward to throughout the week. A lot of times I can plan stuff, whether it be an outing with friends or a cooking project that I have planned for a Saturday or a Sunday. This is something that I look forward to do because it's something that I want to do and it boosts my mood. And then along those same lines, the third thing that I do is always try to do something that makes me feel safe. And the reason for that is because this counteracts all of the anxiety that you felt throughout the week. Anxiety is really an interpretation of a threat, a future-oriented threat that you perceive is going to harm you in some way. But that perceived threat makes us feel unsafe. So to counteract that, we want to do things that make us feel safe. And this could be, ironically, staying at home because this is kind of our little castle. Could be taking a hot shower, a hot bath. Whatever you identify as safe or is the least risky to you should be something in your activity book for the days off that you have. And the fourth thing that I always do on my days off, is to make sure I eat really good food. And by good food, I mean delicious food. Flavor is one of the more satisfying things that we experience. So by making sure that we eat something that's really delicious to us, it activates our dopamine receptors and it makes us just feel really calm and relaxed. Because we still have the hardwiring from 10,000, 100,000 years ago of making sure that we have enough calories in our day. And once we make sure we have those calories, we don't feel so pressured to try to survive. Our fight-flight response shuts off. Now, as you're watching this, you're probably trying to think of activities that you do or you can do that satisfy all four of these points. And one of the things that can satisfy them all is to just go out to a nice restaurant or go to a cafe. I always try to find a new cafe that I haven't been to before. And actually just yesterday, I decided to go to my local Porto's. It's always busy because it's always a very, very good place with great quality food, and it's at an affordable price. It's a nice atmosphere, it smells good inside. I could sit down with a coffee and write if I want to because I feel relaxed. I feel like I don't have any sort of pressure to get things done, and I could just let my creative mind wander. So all that is really good for making us feel relaxed and feel like we're recharging for our days off. What about the activities that we feel like we need to do? So I make sure to always have a habit that I follow every day off. For instance, every Saturday, that's my day to do laundry. It's the first weekend day that I have, and I want to get it done as early as possible. And the reason that I want to get it done early as possible is because I know that if I wait too long on a Saturday, there's not going to be many machines available. So one of my habits, because I'm such an early person, is I am typically up by 6. I get my yogurt, I get my cup of coffee, and then at around 7:15, that's when the laundry room's open. I can go in there, grab a few machines, get my laundry done by 9:30, and then I have pretty much the rest of the day without having to worry about that. While I'm waiting for that laundry to get done, that's also the time that I can sweep the floor or mop the floor. Then I get 2 chores done in the same amount of time. You're stacking requirements on top of each other. And this is also a nice mood booster because you realize it's your first day off, it's only so early in the day, but you've already got 2 required tasks done and you have the rest of your day to be lazy if you want to binge watch a show, and you know that, you were productive. And then if you have other requirements that you have to do throughout the day, things that you don't want to do, I make sure to interleave it with activities that I want to do and activities that I don't want to do. And when you do that, it gives you a nice dopamine kick. Dr. Huberman of the Huberman Lab talks about how when you're in a mood that you don't feel like doing anything, the best way to get your mind into a state of wanting to do something based on science is to force yourself to quote unquote feel some sort of pain, or in my terms, a little bit of discomfort. And he talks about the example of going into a cold shower, and what that does is that creates a spike. And the steeper that spike, meaning the more discomfort that is, the bigger the rebound and the quicker the rebound of dopamine kick that you get, which translates into you wanting to do activities. If I want to sit down and go through a bunch of Japanese terms, that may really seem like a drudge to me and I don't want to do it. But if I force myself to do it and I endure that discomfort, the bigger that discomfort I get, the steeper that rebound I'm going to get. I'm going to get a bigger dopamine hit. And then it's going to motivate me to actually keep going. And then not only that, I can look forward to, if I've interleaved correctly, that after that Japanese study, I get to do something that I actually want to do, whether it be going out to a cafe or getting a cup of coffee somewhere. Now, this process may not be perfect for everybody. There may be a lot of flaws. I'm interested in your ideas. What do you like to do on your days off that gets you motivated? And is there any sort of trick or technique that you do to not only make yourself feel recharged for the weekend, but make you feel like you've actually done productive things, whether it be for a side project or for your own job? But hopefully this gives you an idea to follow. Hopefully some of these techniques you can implement right away and you find some progress. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.